I'm here today with Josh LaJaunie, who, if you don't know his story, he's got an amazing one, and I'm going to let him tell you. But I know you've lost, what is it, what was your heaviest weight?
Um,
Ballpark.
about 420 or so.
420.
Yeah.
Okay.
And right now I'm hovering around between 195 and 200 in that area. Depending if I'm training for a race and my mileage is really high, I might dip down into the 180s, but
Okay. Well, Josh, thank you so much for taking time. I know we met at Plant Stock last summer, and I remember having the most amazing conversation with you. When you first started this whole thing, you started running, and I was about to die. First of all, to me, running, yeah, unless there's somebody chasing me with a bear or, an alligator, maybe down in your world, because you're in New Orleans, just outside of New Orleans, right? Thibodeau?
yeah, South Louisiana. Mm-hmm.
Right? So is that it, Thibodeau?
Yeah.
All right, I got it right. Okay. So unless there's an alligator, after me, I'm not running. So I don't understand this. But you told me this, died when you said this, jiggly jogging.
Yeah. Just a jiggle jog. Yeah, just a
jiggle jog. I about died when you said that. Tell me what a jiggle jog is.
Yeah, well, at that time, a lot of me would move around when I was trying to, like what we would say on the football field, when we go from one drill to the next, coach would say, on the hop. Uh-huh. So that just means like, at least kind of look like you're trying to be in a hurry. And that's all I was doing in the beginning when I get outside, was just trying to get on the hop. But when you get on the hop and you have 200 pounds of belly around you, there's a lot of clapping and flapping and like jiggling that goes on. So I was getting up early to go do my jiggle jogging, because I was kind of, another term we use here on the Bayou, haunt, which means just embarrassed. Right. So I was haunt for people to see my big man boobs and hear all of my fat clapping around. So I get out early in the morning to go do my jiggle jogging. Yeah, just me and my buddy Jeff. I didn't care if he heard my fat rolls. It didn't bother.
Okay. Well, when you started this, what was that pivotal moment where you're just like, I'm done. I gotta. What made you change? That's a very common one, and it's never really that simple. It's never that one thing, but I can narrow it down. In 2011, I was starting my senior year as a non-traditional student. I was pretty proud of myself, right? I had gone back to school after having flunked out when I was supposed to go to school. And so here I was, a 32-year-old man about to graduate from college and like achieve something he never thought could be.
Right. And not only was I about to graduate from college, but my wife was my wife by this point. We had gotten married in 2008. She's, I would have, as a fat guy who always falls into the friend zone. Fat guys are very familiar with the friend zone with the ladies. They fall straight into the friend zone. And so I was very familiar with that zone. And so to think that I was going to have a wife, and, that was something that I always dreamed of that I never really thought would be possible or never would happen. And lo and behold, that was also coming to fruition. And the other thing was the New Orleans Saints had won the Super Bowl in 2010. And so it was just like this multitude. It was just like this collection, this constellation of things in my life that was starting to open the door in my mind to what I thought was possible in my life. And so at that time, I had seen some things kind of shake the foundation of what I assumed was impossible, with my wife and the Saints winning the Super Bowl, me on my senior year, getting my degree. And I didn't want to look like the fat old guy in class at the end of the year, because I was going to graduate that December. And so I was, well over 200 pounds heavier than everyone in my class. And I was the old dude in the class usually. And so I said, you know what? I don't want to be the fat old guy giving a presentation at the end of the year. So that's what started everything in February 2011, was that desire to just look better in a suit, by the end of the year. Right. So I didn't want to walk across the stage and look like, a slob.
to get my diploma. I wanted to be proud. I felt good about what I had done for myself in getting my degree, but I was a little embarrassed about how I looked physically, because now I was smart enough to know how ridiculous it was, you know. And so that's what started everything in 2011. I just started wanting to lose weight again, started trying to lose weight again, because I had done it probably, you know, lost 80 plus pounds probably 2 or 3 times in my life at least. Right.
Well, did you have health issues?
I had my family doctor on my last 3 visits, before I had started trying to lose weight, was starting to warn me about hypertension, because it was pretty consistently high every time I had been to the office for whether it was a visit or being sick or getting a physical or something to that effect. My blood pressure was starting to be consistently high. And just mentally, like, yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, I'm sure that I was on the fast track for heart disease, given my genetic history in my family, my familial history. I'm sure that writing was on the wall. But just, I mean, other than having a 220 or 30 pound lump of fat stuck to my body, I didn't have many other like medical conditions other than physical football stuff from when I played football for a long time in my life. And so I still have, and I still deal with it today, some low back problems and stuff like that from having years of morbid obesity, and on top of that, playing football for so many years of that as well. And also, I worked really hard when I was a kid. I worked with my grandfather. So I did a lot of heavy lifting starting at 12, 13 years old, you know, going on a job site and lifting what the grown men are lifting, because we got to put this piece of 6-inch C900 water pipe into the ditch. And, you know, I'm standing there. So grab it and go bring it. And so I grew up doing that. So other than just that physical wear and tear on my body, I really didn't have many like medical conditions, so to speak. But it's not like I had been tested for anything either, I'm sure.
Well, how tall are you? I'm
about 6'4".
6'4". Oh, that's right. That's right. I felt like I was standing in a hole next to you.
Right.
What was it like, I mean, to be that obese? I mean, there's a lot of things people don't realize that affect you that you can't do as easily. How did it affect your life in any way?
Oh God, yes. It was a very heavy experience, excuse the pun. Right?
That was bad. Okay, Josh, I'm just going to say that was bad. That was bad. Okay.
But no, seriously, it was just like mentally really heavy. Because it's like, it's this thing you can never take off and never hide from. Everyone you encounter sees it, and you got to pretend like and we all know how it got there, right? We all know how you're behaving to manifest that thing. And so it's like, it creates this just swirl and whirl inside your mind of constantly policing different assumed perceptions that people around you have, and trying to thwart those and get ahead of them and be the first guy to pop a fat joke on yourself. Like, it's a heavy, so no one else feels awkward about it, right? And so it's a heavy experience mentally, just living that life. And then, but obviously physically, I just put, like, to go for a hike, I'll put on a 40-pound vest right now, and I have no earthly idea how I walked around with 230 extra pounds on my body. No wonder I was depressed. I was physically depressed to the earth with gravity, 230 extra pounds of it.
That's another human. That's an overweight, the obese human.
Oh my God. It's just tiring. No wonder I was pissed all the time and whiny baby and cry baby and had in such a bad mood. Like, geez, man. So yeah, it sucked. And, you know, not to mention the embarrassing parts of not being able to, like, going, with a group of friends, we're going to go to this restaurant we've heard about, and it's a booth and you can't fit your ass in a booth. Or me and my wife go to Martha's Vineyard for our honeymoon, and we get to Logan International at Boston or whatever that airport is. And they bring us out on the tarmac to go from Boston to Martha's Vineyard in a little Cessna, right? And I can't fit in the seats. I literally cannot fit in the seats. I have to put half an ass cheek on the seat and put my leg behind me in the aisle. And not only that, but the pilot had to get me to move in the plane so we could balance out the plane, right?
Oh my God.
There's a bunch of
embarrassing. Oh my God.
There's a bunch of extraness in your life that normal people just don't deal with. And it's all self-induced, no doubt. I did it to myself by eating that way, by consuming that way. There's no doubt, but it doesn't make it suck any less when you're in the moment doing that and living that experience, you know?
Did you ever have issues that you have to be careful where you sat?
Oh God. Yeah. I've broken lots of lawn chairs in my life. Lots of them. Like these little plastic cheap ass Walmart chairs that you buy, these little plastic. And then I have a habit of like, I would want to rock back on the back two legs. Not a good idea when you
no, that's physics. I'm a physics teacher. That's, you know, you're just taking your 4 pieces that are on the earth, you tilt that back instead of 1/4 each leg, it's now 50% of the
so depending on how a picnic table is constructed,
right,
when you're very heavy, you can sit on a picnic table over. Right, like a seesaw. It's crazy. Yeah, so yeah, it can be really embarrassing and unexpectedly, you know, so that you're constantly monitoring your environment and trying to avoid those types of, you know, scenarios.
Oh my gosh. And then when you have to deal with them in the moment, it's just, that had to be so stressful. I mean, here you are on your honeymoon and you're going with your bride to...
Well, here's a funny story about that. Okay, so I'm big and heavy on my honeymoon. My wife marries me as a big, giant, fat man. But because she's an amazing human that saw something deeper than physical. And so, but that doesn't change the fact that I was really self-conscious about how I looked at the beach. I mean, we go to Martha's Vineyard and you're going to go to the beach. So what we did was we drove up to Aquina, which is up on the cliff side, the cliff end of Martha's Vineyard, and parked there and walked down through the bush to this little beach. And we were going to go walk so we could get around and be behind the cliffs and really just sort of enjoy some peacefulness. It was a lot of extra work to get there, but then I would feel comfortable with my shirt off.
Right.
Enjoy a little secluded section of the beach and enjoy.
That's hard to find on Cape Cod, by the way, because the tourists, you know, when the tourists come up, I know, I'm heading up there.
And we got there early, but what happened was by getting to this very secluded area, this old boy shows up and then he takes his shirt off and he takes his socks and shoes off and then he takes his pants off and he has no underwear on and he's completely nude.
No, it was a nudie beach.
Yeah, and then so one person after the next starts showing up, and they're like, it's like I'm looking down the beach, and my wife is just laying there, and she's just taking a nap and sunning, enjoying the beach, and I'm like, hey, don't look right now, but I think pretty much everyone is getting naked all around us. It's pretty weird. And she looks up like this because she's laying on her back, and the guy's behind us, right? And at this point, he's got his ass to us, and he's bent over like dusting sand off of the blanket, you know. And she was like, "Oh my God, where are we? What are we doing?" It was pretty insane.
That was TMI.
That was pretty insane. It was funny though. It was a really cool experience. Yeah,
that's great. Well, I know how it is. I know how hard it is to find a secluded beach on Cape Cod because my husband and I are buying a house this summer. We're going to set up a plant-based destination vacation, which is
awesome.
So exciting. You know, we're going to rent out the house for a couple of years and then probably fall of 2020. So if you want to come visit up on the Cape, we're here. We'll be up there.
You don't have to twist my arm too hard.
Right? It's an amazing place.
It's amazing, especially during I've only been there during July. It's our anniversary, like on the 26th actually. So that's this time of year on the Martha's Vineyard is amazing, especially when you fly there from South Louisiana because it's miserably, brutally hot here right now.
Right.
So you get up to Martha's Vineyard and everybody's apologizing about the heat. Please come inside and enjoy the air conditioning. It's like, what do you thought? It's 78 degrees. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a little more hot humid where you are.
Oh, yes.
So, no, we have a lot of nice ocean breezes that come through that is just delightful. And I just can't wait to be up there. And
I'm excited.
Wow, I could just see your wife just looking back. Yeah, that's a vivid picture. Yeah.
That's more than we bargained for.
That's endowed in my mind. Thank you, Jim.
No tan lines. The guy had no tan lines. So he does this
already. Does this often. So, okay, you said, okay, I want to lose weight. I don't want to be the old fat guy graduating across the stage. What, after that, what happened? What made you change? What'd you do?
Well, like what was really cool is like just a real neat bit of serendipity. Like my buddy Jeffrey, who I went to kindergarten with, I've known him my entire life, just happens to call me one morning in February of 2011. Hey, I'm joining the gym, bro. I'm feeling fat. I need a partner. You want to come with me? And I was like, yes. And I joined that afternoon and we just started. And that was it. I went back to what I knew. Go in the gym and sling some iron.
Right.
And so that's where I started. And that's where I started to just do something, do something. Yeah.
Well, it's always good to have a support system in place.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
I mean, and that's what we do with my partner, Nancy, and I. We're the starch queens. I'm the queen of diamonds. She's the queen of hearts because I like the facts. I'm the educator in the group. And she's the queen of hearts because she's like one big warm, fuzzy blanket and coaching. And we provide a support network. So what you had was your friend in the gym providing your support network, holding you accountable, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Of course. That's exactly right.
Yep.
That's exactly right. And Jeffrey is an early bird like myself. We grew up hunting and fishing together. So we go, we're used to waking up at 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning to go do whatever. So he was really dependable. And I knew that if I wasn't there, he would be like, bro, what's up? So
keep you right at your door going, hello.
Yeah. And so,
hello, Josh, get up. Let's go.
Yeah. So what he did, and I don't even know if he realizes today how powerful it was for me, but what he did was really sort of keep me engaged long enough for some neural adaptation to start taking place, some habit to start forming, some muscle memory to start getting built, right?
Right. Excellent. All right. So what led you to plant-based?
Running led me to plant-based. And wanting to lose weight faster led me to running. Right. So I realized early on that, chugging the big whey protein at every workout and doing the 3 sets of 10 and never really breaking a sweat, but just going heavy and just trying to be like, I don't know. It was like I was trying to play football again or something in my mind, it was,
right.
And so, but I realized early on, that wasn't really helping a whole lot. And I knew that I didn't want to get bigger. I just wanted to get the fat off of me. So I started to sort of lean more towards the, cardiovascular stuff, which is not something as a big guy I had ever warmed up to in my life. So it just started with the elliptical, which led to the treadmill, which led to me being outside, then which led to me being interested in a race, which led to me training for something. And I wanted to be better at it. So that I ran a race in 2012, the Crescent City Classic, it took me a long time. I was still 325, 330 pounds at that time. But what it led me to do was want to get better at running as a sport, as my hunting, as my fishing, as my football. Like as I was like, oh, I see a community around this activity. I see some athleticism to be had. I see some fun things to be achieved.
Right.
Some cool people to hang out with. And so I started really wanting to be better at it. And so I read a book called Born to Run. And in that book, I read about Scott Jurek. I had no idea.
Wasn't he awesome?
Amazing.
He was at Plant Stock that summer, right? That we were there. Last summer? Yes.
It was the summer before.
Because he had showed a recap and the videos and everything else of his trek on the Appalachian Trail.
Yep.
And what
I got to meet him.
I was so embarrassed because I could hardly speak because it was the same thing when I met Dr. Esselstyn for the first time.
I know.
I could just sit there and cry like a moron.
I know. Some people follow rock stars. I follow medical doctors,
Who's this big, huge crybaby? But those guys just don't understand how much their influence meant to me. I mean, here I am.
Well, wait. I got to tell you this one. Dr. Esselstyn, the first year I went to PlantStock, here we are pulling into the farm because just going to the farm was like the Mecca, right? Going to the Mecca, the plant-based Mecca. And so we're pulling up onto the fields to park because we're like way away from the house. And he's driving up in this Gator. Morning, want to ride up to the house? And, you pop on and you're like, okay, this is wow. Hello. You've made my life incredible. And he was just driving back and forth. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And he's out there, morning, welcome to the farm, come on in.
It was really profound for me in this whole thing is that Dr. Esselstyn is my grandfather's age, my Bam Bam's age, who just passed in August. But there's just this vast difference in what 85 looks like in two different human beings, and knowing the likely culprit for my grandfather's condition and the likely and the very likely reason that Dr. Esselstyn is where he is,
right,
physically and mentally. And you look at those inputs that went into both of those different lives and you go, oh, okay, I love my Bam Bam very much. And he would expect me to course correct. He wouldn't expect me to make the same mistakes. He would expect me to see the difference between a man his age doing much better and me being pragmatic and objective about it and making a course correction, regardless of his example in my life.
Right.
So that has been really profound in helping me set in not only for myself in a plant-based lifestyle, but being an advocate for it and helping other people who I know are on the Bam Bam track. I know I was on the Bam Bam track. And so let's do it different for his sake. So he didn't have to go away in vain. It was a tough, very distasteful example in my life, but it's powerful at the same time. And so that's where I am today. But it all started with me learning about veganism through wanting to be better at running and reading about Scott Jurek in Born to Run. That was the seed, that germinated eventually. That was it.
So is that what started you going plant-based?
Yes, it did. Yeah, Scott Jurek, basically, I said, well, not right off the bat, because I read about him and I was like, oh, that's cute. He can do that. I'm a gigantic man. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking he's just this, he's a spindly guy who's done cross country. He had a history while he was cross country skiing in high school. I was, 295 pounds and playing football, in high school. And so it's two different bases that we built. So I didn't really attribute very much of his success to his food because I figured he was just a very unique physical specimen. But I did take notice of what he said about the food. And I was like, okay, well, I could just eat more beans and stuff. And but then I read his book specifically, and he had some recipes. It was like a recipe at the end of each chapter, maybe not a many at all. And I never made any of the recipes, but just reading the recipes was like, oh, okay, that's vegan? All right, yeah, I could do it. It was like a chili recipe.
Right.
Barley in it. I was like, barley, okay. Right? I've read that on a Budweiser can. I didn't know that we could actually eat it. So
Got it.
like, okay, barley, you can eat barley and beans. Okay. And so I just started. And so that made a lot of sense. But then the next book was Finding Ultra with Rich Roll. And then that was it, right. He really, because we had a very parallel sort of experience.
Now, was that the first time you met Rich Roll? Was that PlantStock? Or had you met him before?
I met Rich Roll in 2015 at Health Fest in Marshall, Texas.
Okay.
That's where I met him the first time. the first interview we did on Skype, and then we did our second podcast at Health Fest in Marshall, Texas.
Nice.
And that was the first time I actually met him face to face.
Wow. Well, after you lost your weight, what impact did that have on your life?
Wow, it's changed everything, Ms. Jean. Like everything has changed. And I'm still the same guy. I still love the same people. I still want to be around the same people, even though they may not want to be around me as much anymore.
Yeah.
But look, like my life is like, I'm changing everything about my life. What I do professionally, I'm shifting, I'm changing. I think of myself as an advocate.
Right.
I try to advocate for advocacy. Right. Like, and so it's just, I never would have imagined myself being this person who's trying to help people get healthy and his like,
right.
And so
it feels good, doesn't it?
It feels really good to be that. It really does.
Yeah.
Of course, it feels futile most of the time.
Right.
But it feels
it's like we're
good.
going up against a tsunami.
Right. I was telling my friend Howard the other day, it's a good battle. It's a good war to be losing. You know what I mean? I feel good being one of those people being martyred on the battlefield, so to speak. It's okay. That's okay with me right now. Right. I'm willing. I like the idea of that investment in this thing.
I know, right?
And
I think we know because this is the right path. I mean,
yes, ma'am.
When I win lotto, this is when, okay, I'm putting that out to the universe. When I win lotto, my first purchase is going to be a 1969 metallic blue convertible Corvette. Okay, that's my car. My brother will argue with me, why 69? Why don't you go for 57? 57 is much better. No. 69 was when I loved Corvettes. Found out that the metallic blue, there's just the sleek lines. That's my car. It'll say Starch Queens for the license plate. Okay, that's going to be my license plate. Okay, fine. Kerosene, great fuel. But if you put that kerosene in that Corvette, I will cry because you're going to kill that engine. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what we've been doing is putting the processed foods, the oil, the sugars, the salts.
Yeah, and the pharmaceutical industry can come up with ways for us to run that car on kerosene.
Right. Exactly. And that's what they try and do.
It still sputters and it runs like crap and it doesn't have any power.
Exactly.
Right.
And when that V8 when you touch the pedal of that V8 and it just, the car, because they drive like a tank. I'll be the first to admit that, but they can go really fast in a straight line. Just saying, so you could go fast, the car will still go, but not fast like it's designed to go when you put the right fuel in. Yeah. So that's my analogy. And I think that's what we know it's the right fuel, what we're doing. And we see the impact on it. And you're moving, you're healthy, you're running like some kind of crazy person. I don't know what I don't know. They talk about the runner's high, go for it, bear, alligator, no, not doing that. Now I'll be out kayaking, I'll be out hiking, sure, biking.
Hiking is just a slower way to run.
Exactly. There you go.
It's bipedal locomotion. It's important. It's important to us. It's important, in my opinion, for us to engage in that specific activity. Yep. Now, if you don't want to run ultra marathons or you don't want to run sub 20-minute 5Ks, then don't do that. Nobody's saying that. But what we do need to do is get out in nature
and exercise.
And exercise our bipedal capacity specifically. Right. Specifically. Because it's our niche movement protocol as an organism. So let's engage in it. Let's surrender to the fact that we're not going to have all of the scientific reductionist reasons that bipedal locomotion is better. Just generally, it makes good sense that if you're a bird, you should fly. If you're a fish, you should swim. If you're a snake, you should slither around. If you're a human being, you should walk, damn it. Get out and engage in your bipedalism.
Exactly.
It's cheap. And there's nothing holding you back from doing it right now, right? So that's why I'm a big fan.
Well, not the running, but getting out. I'll agree with that. 100%. I still think you're whatever. What impact did your weight loss have on friends, family?
Mostly everyone is just super proud of me. Like I get a lot of that, you know, people, I got a text today from a good friend who just wanted me to know that they were proud of me. And that feels good. And I know that's what people are willing to share with me, right? Is how much they're proud of me, how much better I look, you know, how fast I am, or how athletic, or man, you're a beast, or that's fun stuff to hear people say. But I also know that I make people probably apprehensive, nervous, because I do talk so much about our food, the way we eat here. So it probably makes people, that can also be a dynamic that takes place out of the public eye, so to speak. Right. So I know that there are probably naysayers and people that wish I would just shut up a little bit about a plant-based diet, but you know, I'm serious. This is not just, it's not Weight Watchers or like the next thing. This is what science has shown to be the best thing, generally speaking, for the human being. Right. And the fact that we are so steeped in chronic disease is just a reason for us to hastily move ourselves towards that factual reality, you know? And so generally the reaction has been positive in my life. Like people have been super cool about, especially when they see me on Megyn Kelly or something, you know, see me on TV. But I do know I make people a bit, I do know that I probably rub people the wrong way a lot with how specific and stringent I talk about food compliance. Stringently, I talk about food compliance and how important it is, and cardiovascular disease, because I'm constantly beating that drum. So I know it probably irritates some people, but generally most people have been super happy. And
now your wife is plant-based, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And did your immediate family, mom, dad, family, brothers? I know your brother was a big influence.
Yep.
Has everybody gone plant-based?
Yeah, everybody in the family, that my mother-in-law, my mom, my wife, even there's just tons of people in our mobile home park that we run. There's just tons of people. But yes, everyone in my family has gone plant-based, and there's many of us who've lost over 100 pounds, including my mom and my sister and my brother and my brother-in-law. We're all over 100 pounds of weight loss. So it's frustrating to me when people want to give keto or something like that the same weight as a plant-based diet when we're analyzing what we should do. Well, there's the keto route, and we could go plant-based. It's like, no, man, that's not it at all. Human beings are largely herbivorous animals.
Right. Well, if you look at the system,
come on, man.
You look at the digestive tract, and you look at the enzymes in our mouth. Yes. You know, if you look at all these factors. I'm not saying that humans have evolved
to be 100% vegan. That's not what I'm saying at all, because that's where the argument goes, right? Well, there's no way he was vegan. Well, I don't care. That's true. I get it. We would have eaten meat to survive. Granted.
But it was hard to come by. It was hard to hunt.
And the environment would have dramatically reduced the quantity of animal muscle you would have been able to achieve and acquire. And let's not even get talking about dairy.
No, apart from dairy.
Talk about meat. We just talk about muscle meat.
I don't even want to know how the first person came up with the idea from taking dairy and making it into cheese. I seriously, I don't know, because the bacteria that makes cheese comes from your feet. It's the bacteria that makes your feet smell. That's what makes cheese. Okay, you need to watch the series I did with Dr. Neil Parker.
But here's the deal: the hyperpalatability of cheese makes one say, "Screw it, I don't care what's in it." You know, I lived that life. That's what we all do, because it also has the casomorphines, which make you addicted. So you don't care. So you could say, hey, guess what people are putting? They're putting rat turds in there to make it congeal that certain way. And you're like, oh, these are delicious rat turds.
the
like,
best rat turds I've ever had.
Right. I mean, I've literally said dumb things like that as I eat food that was delicious throughout my entire life.
Were you addicted to food?
Of course. Yes, absolutely.
Were you doing a lot of fast foods?
Yeah, tons of fast food.
How much fast food would you eat in a day?
I'd probably go on the top end. I'd probably go to fast food probably in a given day up to 4 times, 5 times.
Wow. What were you getting when you went?
It depends. If it was like a actual meal time, it would usually be, so a favorite order of mine at Burger King would have been a triple Whopper with cheese, king size, with a Sprite and a chocolate shake. A strawberry shake.
Okay.
So that would be a meal. But then I would usually pop in and get nuggets again later, like just a few hours, maybe not even a few hours. Just as soon as I wasn't absolutely miserably full again, I didn't wait to get hungry. It's just once that miserable feeling of eating had dissipated, I was eating again. It wasn't that I was waiting to be hungry again. I was just waiting to be not miserably full again before I ate. And that's basically how I live my life.
Wow. So what do you eat now in a given day? How do you start your day?
So I start my day by going to the gym. That's step one. I get up out of the bed and I head to the gym. And I usually run right now. So like, for instance, this morning I got up, went to the gym, I ran, did a little workout, and that was it. And then after the gym, I'll usually eat something. So this morning, the first thing, because I was really hungry, I felt kind of nauseous. I was so hungry after the gym this morning that I stopped at the Rouse's, the grocery store, on the way home and grabbed a Honeycrisp apple and a bottle of water. And
big difference instead of driving through, like, I don't know, what's your fast food breakfast?
Exactly.
What did you like?
McDonald's steak, egg, and cheese bagel. That was the go-to because bagels are healthy.
Oh, of course, right.
Bagels are healthy. It's better than a biscuit. So that was my effort to be,
healthy.
Healthy, yeah. Insanity. But yeah, and if you would have challenged me on that back then, you'd have caught serious attitude.
I'm sure
it would have been a problem, right?
Because the biggest addicts defend their habits.
Oh goodness! I mean, and brilliantly too. Like to make you go, well, maybe he is okay. Like, right? I'm wrong about this. Like, they're good at it, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the apple in the water this morning was just to hold me over to get home. I've been on a burrito bowl kick lately, but today, when I got home from the gym, warmed up some ancient grains that I bought at Walmart with some refried beans, the old El Paso canned fat-free ones. There's no oil added.
Right.
So that, and then I had some avocado and red onion and hot sauce on top, and it's just so delicious. And I'm full, and I ate that at probably 10 o'clock, and I haven't had anything since. I'm fine. And if I'm out and about and I am hungry, or if I'm stressed out and so for instance.
Right.
So you go to the baking section, right? And then you get these little packages of walnuts or some other unoiled, unfried, unsalted type of so I have developed my little protocol, like how, and that's what I tell people all the time. It's not about what specifically I'm eating that you need to know. It's about being innovative and creative in your environment and being curious about what already exists in my environment right now that I can make do with.
Well, do you have Publix where you are?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say the Plant Pure Nation started going into Publix in the South. And they've got their frozen dinners, which are amazing. I don't know if you've had the
amazing. Yeah, I love them. Yeah, I like them. They're so hefty and heavy and because they're calorically dilute. So when you need a 800 calorie meal, it's going to have to be big when it doesn't
have a lot of calories in it.
Right.
And so those
It's a pound of food.
Yeah, they're very filling and satisfying.
They are. They're amazing. And they come frozen to your doorstep, but they also started, the downside of that to me is there's a lot of packaging involved to get that frozen to your door.
Sure. But it's a great learning tool. That's the way I put it to people. It's like a little food class.
Right?
Right? And it's like, oh, I never thought about making this with this and that. Okay, I don't have to rebuy that.
Right.
I could.
Right.
It would be nice. It'd be convenient. But I've learned that I can make spaghetti and meatballs with this lentil loaf instead of meat. Like, right? You can figure. And so it's just a great learning experience every time you open a meal. So that.
Well, those are Kim Campbell's recipes, and honest to God, she has the best cookbooks in my mind. Honestly,
I love Miss Kim. She's very sweet. And the biggest thing for me though was not the actual meals; it was eating on the fly.
Yeah,
because depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing, I might go all the way through lunch. I might be traveling to New Orleans to get a part, so Dustin and my brother could get back to work after he's done with lunch, and then I get back, and so I might be in a situation where I'm gonna eat in a gas station because it won't be a full meal, but it'll be something to just hold me over because I'm hungry right now.
Right. They have bananas in gas stations.
They have bananas, they have apples, they have raw almonds, they have, they have lots of things that are acceptable options at gas stations.
Right.
Even a pickle, I'll eat a pickle if I want to. And so there's lots of options, and I invite people to be curious in their territory because everyone has their little dog path that they've created in the world. And
I love that.
Right.
Dog path.
Yeah, be curious about what already exists in your environment that's acceptable and compliant with what we're trying to do now. And if you do that you're set up forever. You don't have to now what did Josh say to mix the refried beans with? That's not what we need to be working on as much as we need to be working on our own willingness and ability to create on the fly and innovate.
Right. Well, tell me about the Missing Chins Run Club.
That is one of these really organic sort of accidents that just happens, You go to things like Plant Stock and you meet people like Tim Kaufman and Anthony Masiello and
They're
Jason
amazing,
Coleman.
right?
Right, amazing people. And you meet all these wonderful people, and so you're friends with them on social media, and you wind up being in a group chat with 3 or 4 of them, and things change. The tone of the conversation changes when no one else is looking but these 4 or 5 guys, right? You're a little bit more comfortable with how you talk to one another. And so in those sorts of backroom kind of chats and conversations, it started to get kicked around the idea of maybe we should have our own like just private group or something. Maybe we should have a group for us fat guys. No one had come up with a name for it or anything. It was maybe we should have a group.
So who came up with the name?
I came up with the name, and
I said, "I know that was coming."
I said, and I just started it one morning, and I knew we had been talking about it, but nobody had actually pulled the trigger or decided, hey, let's make. So I just did it one morning after the gym, actually, while I was sitting on the toilet, and I took a picture of myself, like a profile, showing that my chin was missing, and that's our cover picture still today. Is the chin is gone? Like I don't have them. They all went bye-bye, and I named it the Missing Chins Run Club.
Okay.
And so it has taken off and been the most wonderful thing. It has been so amazing watching these guys not only lose weight and reverse type 2 diabetes and do all of these wonderful things that we know plants do, but to see them get outward facing and become advocates themselves and coaching people, on social media themselves and helping one another along. And oh my gosh.
I know. Tim Kaufman is the Fat Man Rants, and he's got that. And Anthony's over in New Jersey. We connect quite often.
Dinner. Yeah.
Yep. He's got his nutritarian groups and meetups. I've gone over to the farm, and I've gone into the city. We've met there at different especially in Brooklyn. Eric Adams. I don't know if did you meet him at the Plant Stock, Eric Adams?
Yes. I didn't meet him, but I know who you're talking about.
So, because he's down in Brooklyn and he's doing some amazing things in Brooklyn and just turning it upside down and trying to get it into our schools and make changes. And he's got meetings at the town
It's so frustrating to see surplus dairy products being pawned off on our school children. It's so stupid to me. It's criminal.
It is.
It's
absolutely
criminal, man.
Yep. So what are some of your favorite meals? What's some of the Josh's now favorite go-tos?
I'm a real simple kind of person. So if we for something kind of sweet and something breakfasty, like I really enjoy rolled oats. That's pretty much the only type of cereal that I eat is just raw, old-fashioned rolled oats. I usually get the thick cut Bob's Red Mill ones. Love them. Super chewy, and they're just great. So I'll make a bowl of just raw oats and eat it like cold cereal. So, I like the frozen cherries at Walmart and the frozen banana slices. And so I'll take a handful of frozen cherries, a handful of frozen banana slices, and mix that into my almond milk with my oats. And the coolest thing happens, like that almond milk kind of freezes around the outside of the cherries and the bananas, and the oatmeal kind of gets stuck to it. And I don't know, it's just amazing. You put a little cinnamon or something in there, maybe a little maple syrup, whatever you need to get over the hump and make it taste better for yourself at the moment, depending on where you are on the continuum and your transition. But that is a favorite breakfasty type meal of mine. And it's hefty and it'll last a while and it's really good. I love that before big long runs and stuff. That's a real favorite of mine. Another favorite of mine is just beans, man. Beans and rice, any kind of bean, black beans, pinto bean, just any kind of bean. I like buying these different types of slaws they make now that don't have dressing or anything, but like the broccoli slaw and and now they're starting to blend those kind of broccoli carrot slaws in with some kale that you can find. I know at my local Walmart I have that, so I can get these bags of that, and I can throw a bowl of that with beans on top and some nutritional yeast and sriracha. And that's a real good filling meal. Do the same thing with, potatoes. I pop potatoes in a microwave if I don't have any prepared, and put some nutritional yeast and some salt and pepper in a big bowl of mashed potato that took you 6 minutes in the microwave. You can't beat that. That's a delicious meal. It's one of my favorites, one of my go-tos. Sweet potatoes also. Love that. And right now, with garden ripe tomatoes, my mom's garden has produced. My brother produced a bunch of potatoes this year, so we have a bunch of those little. I love red potatoes; they're so creamy.
Yeah,
and the skin is so thin. I love eating the potato skin, so I really prefer the yellow Yukon Gold or the red potatoes because of that. The russets are kind of because the skin's like leather.
Well, do you have an air fryer?
I don't have an air fryer. My mom
does.
Game
changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
So, but also tomato sandwiches is what I was getting. I love big, thick cut tomato sandwich with some nutritional yeast and some maybe even an avocado slice with some red onion. That is an amazing sandwich.
Killer Dave's bread. Have you tried that?
Yes, yes. If I ever buy bread, that's what it'll be. And then, but I'm not a keeper of bread. It's not like, oh, we're out of bread, get more. I'll get some because I got the envie for a sandwich. That's a coon-ass term for you got the,
Say it again.
If I get the envie for something, like, so get the envie for something is like to have like a craving for something. So it's summertime. You see all these tomatoes sitting around at my mom's house. They're getting ripe on the table. So I get the envie for a good tomato sandwich. So I cut a couple of big slices and have a big old slice of tomato.
Those big beefsteak ones. Yeah.
And it's when it's a garden tomato from your yard.
Oh, picked right out of the garden.
Yeah, it tastes like tomato. It doesn't taste like just cold wetness. Like it's weird.
A real tomato.
A real tomato, yeah. So I've been tearing up tomato sandwiches lately. At least a couple of them a week.
Green beans, those are my favorites out of the garden too. I'll just go out and eat green beans right there.
Green beans are great as well.
Yeah.
And then my go-to on as far as snacking throughout the day is usually, this is another thing. I don't keep fruit at my house, not because I don't want to, but because it goes bad quickly. So I just let the grocery stores hold the fruit, and I pop in and get fruit when I want it. So that's how I operate throughout my day. I'm in my truck a lot, so I just pop in at a grocery store, and maybe I get a banana if they have nice ripe ones. I'm not buying a green banana, that's garbage. Or if I get I'll get a Honeycrisp apple and a bottle of water and a small bag of these almonds, or these walnuts or something like that. And that's how I make it through my day. But my favorite meals are big hefty bowls of beans and rice or potatoes. That's really my go-to.
Oh, the air fryer makes the potatoes. It makes French fries to die for.
Yeah.
And my absolute favorite is potato waffles.
Okay.
Do you have a Trader Joe's near you?
Yeah, there's one in New Orleans. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they have bags of shredded hash browns. So you take that, and what I do is I take it right out of the freezer, and I run water over it just to thaw it. And then I'll put it into a towel, roll it up, squeeze out as much moisture, put it into a bowl, add whatever seasonings that are amazing that I like. My new favorite is Bear. And I learned that from Kim Campbell. She's got a recipe for it in her cookbook, Plant Pure Nation. Anyway, then I'll add that, and then I'll just put it into a waffle iron, and I'll make potato waffles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait till you try those. And as soon as you take them out and they're done, I'll cut them in half, pop them in the toaster oven, toast them twice, and then literally you can pick them up and bite into them. They're that crispy, crunchy. I have a video on how to make the potato waffles. And
I'm going to have to check it out. That sounds right up my wife's alley. That sounds like a...
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, do check out that video on how to make potato waffles, because your wife will love that. That's an awesome one. So it's on starchqueens.net. If you go under videos, there's a lot of cooking videos, a lot of interviews, and this interview will end up there eventually too.
Cool.
Anyway, well, Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. You are amazing as always, and you are such an inspiration to other people. So keep up the great job. And if somebody wants to join the Missing Chins Run Club, what do they do?
Well, they're going to just have to find me on Facebook and message me and let me know why you feel like you're fit.
All right. Because it's a secret group on Facebook, so you can't find it.
You got to find me and ask me directly. And I have about 4 or 5 people that I'm pending right now in my messages that are just kind of, they're waiting to get in, but I'd like to know a little bit more about them,
All right.
So we'll just have a little exchange in the message between that person and myself, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, Josh, always a pleasure talking to you. And and hope we see each other at the next conference soon.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be at Plant Stock.
There you go. Take care.
Peace.